welcome to another episode of Supplement Sense. Now, if you've spent any time in a gym or in an online bodybuilding forum or in a nutrition store, you've probably heard the word stack thrown around. People say, what's in your stack? Or here's my stack, or you should stack this with that. And you might be wondering, what exactly does that mean and what should a stack consist of? Well, a stack is basically a term for a combination of various products to achieve certain fitness goals. Usually it entails enhanced muscle gains, fat loss, faster recovery, more strength and endurance, and optimizing hormone levels and metabolism and energy for optimal results. Now, how do we go about combining products for a stack? What's a good basic foundation or starting point? And for that, we're actually going to move over this way a little bit. Okay, so our stack is going to start with the basics, which is always going to be your protein powder. Okay, so protein powder is very, very important because you get a high dose of your branched chain amino acids, especially if it's a whey protein powder. You definitely want a protein that has a high dose of branched chain aminos because those are the ones that are essential to muscle building. They make up about a third of your muscle tissue. So you want a high dose of branched chain amino acids in your protein powder, and you also want to make sure that it's a complete protein, meaning that it has the essential amino acids. Those are the ones that you have to get in your diet. And research does suggest that higher concentration of essential aminos in a presence of branched chain aminos can really help with muscle building, fat loss, muscle retention, all that good stuff. So your protein powder is your number one. This is your starting point. It's always your foundation. Onto this, the next thing that I might add would be branched chain amino acids. Yes, they are already in your protein, but when you add extra branched chain amino acids, it's only going to help you. Again, remember, about a third of muscle tissue is composed of just these three amino acids: leucine, isoleucine, and valine. So if you don't have these three in high enough concentration, you can't build muscle, and you're just going to be kind of stagnating. Your progress isn't going to advance as much as you want it to. So adding on extra branched chain aminos, never a bad thing as far as I can tell. Now from here, where do we go? Well, we have some options. We can go in a couple different directions. We could add, say, more glutamine. This is another amino acid that has shown great benefit when it comes to building muscle and retaining muscle. You could also add arginine, which is good for circulation. It's good as far as like a testosterone booster sort of product. You could add extra B complex, B12 for energy replenishing, but at this point, it looks a little complicated, and I think we can actually simplify this by adding instead something like this, post-workout. Now, this is a powder. Usually they're powders, and it contains all of those things that I just showed you. Most post-workouts do have glutamine, B vitamins, arginine, and then other things, maybe even some extra branched chain aminos, which again, not going to be a problem. But this is great because it's going to really help with your recovery and your muscle gains and your muscle retention and all that good stuff. So this is another thing you can definitely add on. Now, at this point, we kind of have options. It really depends on which direction you're going in. Are you looking to gain or are you looking to cut? In which case you would kind of go in different directions. So let's build both stacks. We're going to have right here, this is going to be our cutting stack because we have a high protein, low carb, low fat protein powder. And on this side, we're going to add in a weight gaining protein. This is a gainer, as we like to call it. It helps to really build muscle as well as just put on mass in general because it has a high concentration of carbohydrates and fats as well as protein. So this is your building side, this is your cutting side. And we're just going to replicate what we have here. Extra branched chain aminos, always a good thing. And extra post-workout. So these are the same except for the foundational portion, the protein powder over here, low carb, high carb. That's really the difference between the cutting and the building stack. Now where we go from here, on the cutting side, we're going to add a pre-workout, which you've probably been wondering, when are we going to get to the pre-workout? That's an essential portion of the stack. Well, on the cutting side, I selected a pre-workout that does not have creatine in it. And the reason why I have omitted creatine from the picture is because creatine causes bulking, which of course is a good thing on this side of the equation, but over here, if you're in your state where you're trying to really lean out and get nice and shredded, you probably don't want to have creatine as part of your regimen. So we've got a pre-workout that omits the creatine, whereas on this side, we're going to add a pre-workout that has creatine. It also has your nitric oxide enhancer, it has your stimulant. That's a totally different topic. We'll cover pre-workouts at a separate point, but basically over here, creatine is a good thing because it's going to help you bulk up, put on mass. Next thing, on the cutting side of the equation, I'm going to add a thermogenic. Thermogenics help to increase your metabolism, increase your heart rate, and increase your calorie burning, basically calorie expenditure. So this is good to help, lose hopefully that little bit of excess fat that's kind of holding you back, and really increase your fat burning capacity and your energy expenditure and your energy levels while you're working out, all that stuff. Good for the cutting side. Also on the cutting side, we're going to add a fat metabolizer. This is a carnitine-based fat metabolizing formula, and it's going to help your body get that stored fat off and available for energy. Again, totally separate topic, we'll cover it at some point, but just know that on the cutting side of the equation, a fat metabolizer is going to help you lean out, whereas on the bulking side of the equation, I'm going to add some CLA. CLA actually is a fat metabolizer. Now this is interesting. It stands for conjugated linoleic acid. It's derived from safflower oil, and it's an essential fatty acid that helps to actually encourage fat metabolism while maintaining lean muscle mass. So that's the cool thing about CLA, and the reason why I have it on the bulking side is it's going to help you keep your gains while also losing the excess fat. So that's really cool. And actually, I'm also going to throw in CLA on this side. So at this point, you can see that we've got two pretty healthy stacks going on. We've got your bulking stack with your gaining powder, extra branched chain amino acids, a post-workout, and then your pre-workout that has creatine in it for bulk, and CLA that helps you keep your muscle mass. And over on this side, we have the cutting stack, low carbohydrate protein powder, extra branched chain aminos, post-workout. And then we added on a pre-workout that has no creatine in it, as well as a thermogenic fat burner and the CLA, which is also a fat metabolizer. So we've kind of got the basic muscle to fat ratio thing going on here. At this point, what we're really talking about now is hormone modification, which kind of looks a little bit like this. We've got these kinds of things going on. Test boosters, test amplifiers, growth factor amplifiers, etc. These are really a separate topic. I'd like to cover them in more detail because they deserve a separate topic, because you really want to be careful when you start to introduce these things. You don't want to go overboard, you don't want to do the wrong thing, you don't want to end up hurting yourself in the long run. So I'm really not going to go into much detail right here because I want to allow these things to have their own separate topic and address them in more detail later, but just know that this is the point at which you would start adding on things that really help, maybe accelerate muscle gain, accelerate fat loss, enhance energy levels, enhance fat burning, all that stuff, speed up recovery, etc. But this is just a really good basic nutritional stack with things like proteins and fat metabolizers, amino acids, etc. So you might also find that in the stacking recommendations online, or that your gym buddies give you, maybe they'll say, hey, add in a multivitamin, multiple mineral. Always a good idea. This would benefit either side of the equation because, of course, you need good basic nutrition. I mean, that should be obvious. A lot of stacks also recommend like a fish oil, omega-3. I think this is a good idea. It's really good at helping keep your joints healthy, which weightlifting can put a lot of strain on the joints. This can also help with fat metabolism. It can help normalize cholesterol levels. It's good for brain function. It's good for Gosh, so many things. I mean, omega-3s come in handy in many different ways. They should probably be their own separate topic as well. But I hope we've kind of helped you gain a little bit of bearing on the subject of stacking. Hopefully now you know that you have two directions you can go in mainly. There's the cutting, there's the bulking. You've got your foundation, you've got some basic starting points here. And at some other time we'll get a little more detailed when it comes to some other products you can add on. But this is just a really good starting point, you know, if you're looking for somewhere to begin. So I hope that's helped shed some light on things for you. I hope it made a little thing, some things clearer. And I hope you subscribe, like the video if it helped you out, and make sure to catch us next time for some more Supplement Sense.